You drill your hole. You reach into the bucket and grab a perfect lively minnow. It's kicking hard in your hand. You hook it just right, you drop it in the water, and nothing. It flutters for a second, then goes belly up. Dead. Sound familiar? You probably thought, well, the water's freezing, what do you expect? I'm here to tell you, the cold is not what killed that minnow. Today, we're uncovering the real reason your live bait is dying the second it hits the water in the winter. And the answer is going to change how you handle your bait forever. It's a simple mistake, but it's probably the main reason you're not getting as many bites as the guy next to you. Think it's just about the temperature? Let me know in the comments right now if you think a fish can die from cold that fast. Let's see who gets it right. Look, every single winter, anglers across the country spend a fortune on live bait. We buy dozens of minnows, shiners, whatever works in our area, and a good chunk of that money goes right down the hole belly up, completely useless. For generations, the old-timers just shrugged it off. It's winter. Bait dies. We've all heard it. We've probably all said it, and so we've accepted it. We keep the bait bucket in the warm truck cab on the drive out, or we keep it right next to the heater in our ice shanty. We think we're doing the fish a favor, keeping them comfortable and lively. It's a habit passed down from one fisherman to the next. Keep the bait warm, drop it in the cold water. It seems logical. But what if I told you that this very act of kindness is actually a death sentence for your bait? Let's start with the scene. It's 5 in the morning, it's dark, it's cold. You've got your gear loaded up. The coffee is hot. You stop by the bait shop and pick up 4 dozen of the liveliest shiners they have. They look fantastic, swimming around in the shop's tank. The guy bags them up for you, you put them in your own bait bucket, and you head out to the lake. The whole time, you're thinking about the day ahead. You're picturing that trophy walleye coming up through the ice. Your bait is the most important tool you have for that mission. You're doing everything you can to protect it, to keep it in prime condition for the moment it goes on the hook. At least, that's what you think you're doing. The reality is, the clock is already ticking on a mistake that's about to happen. Now, where is that bait bucket? For 99% of us, it's riding shotgun in the passenger seat or sitting on the floor of the truck cab. The heat is blasting because it's 10 degrees outside. The inside of your truck is a comfortable 70 degrees, and your bait is in there with you. The water in that bucket is slowly warming up, matching the air temperature in the cab. The minnows are swimming around, perfectly happy in their cozy little environment. You think you're doing them a huge favor. You're keeping them from freezing. You're keeping them active. You pull up to the lake, see your buddies are already out there, and you're excited to get set up. You grab your auger, your rods, and that nice warm bucket of bait. Everything feels right. But the problem is already set in stone. So you get out on the ice, drill your hole, and get your line ready. You reach into that warm bait bucket and pull out a minnow. Then you drop it into that 33-degree water, and it dies almost instantly. What just happened? It's a phenomenon called thermal shock. This isn't just some fancy scientific term. It's a brutal reality for fish, and it's the #1 reason your bait doesn't last more than a few seconds in the winter. It has almost nothing to do with the fact that the water is cold. It has everything to do with the fact that the water is suddenly, violently different from the water it just came from. You didn't just put your bait in the water. You slammed it with a physiological shockwave it simply can't handle. It's a harsh lesson, but one we all need to learn. Let's break down what thermal shock actually is, in simple terms. Imagine you're sitting in a sauna. It's 180 degrees, you're sweating, you're relaxed. Your body is fully adjusted to the heat. Now, imagine someone throws open the door and pushes you straight into a snowbank outside where it's 0 degrees. What happens to you? Your body goes into complete shock. You can't breathe, Your muscles seize up. You're disoriented. It's a violent, system-wide panic. That is exactly what you're doing to your minnow. You are taking it from its comfortable 70-degree sauna in your truck and plunging it into the equivalent of an Arctic Ocean. Its tiny body simply cannot process that extreme change in a split second. It's not a gentle cooling off, it's a biological system failure. So, what is actually happening inside the fish's body during this shock? A fish is a cold-blooded creature. Its internal body temperature is regulated by its external environment. When you plunge it into freezing water, its systems try to respond, but the change is too fast. The delicate membranes in its gills, which are essential for breathing, can effectively seize up or become damaged from the drastic temperature shift. Its heart rate, which was stable in the warm water, can become erratic or stop altogether. The shock to its central nervous system is so profound that it's like a full system crash on a computer. All its biological functions get a signal to shut down immediately. It's a catastrophic failure from the inside out, all happening in just a few seconds. Here's the most important thing to understand. It is not the cold that kills the fish. Let me repeat that. The 33-degree water is not the problem. Fish, especially the kind we use for bait, are perfectly capable of living and thriving in very cold water. They do it all winter long. The real killer is the rate of change. It's the speed at which the temperature plummets. A fish can adjust to a gradual drop in temperature over hours or even days. Its body has time to adapt, but it has absolutely zero defense against a 40-degree drop in 1 second. That's the key distinction that most anglers miss. We fixate on the final temperature, but we completely ignore the journey it took to get there. And that journey is what's lethal. Let's put some hard numbers to this. The cab of your truck with the heat on is probably somewhere between 65 and 75 degrees. Let's be generous and call it 68 degrees. The water under the ice is going to be, at most, 33 to 35 degrees. That is a temperature difference of over 30 degrees Fahrenheit. In the summer, you'd never dream of taking bait from 30-degree water and throwing it into 70-degree water. You'd know it would kill it. Yet we do the reverse in the winter without a second thought. We are creating an extreme environmental change that the bait fish is not evolved to handle. It's a simple matter of physics and biology, and we've been on the losing end of it for far too long. It's time to respect the numbers. Try to put yourself in the minnow's shoes or fins. You're swimming around in your bucket. Life is good. The water is a comfortable, stable temperature. There are no predators. Suddenly, a giant hand plucks you out. For a brief moment, you're in the cold air, which is a shock in itself. Then, you're plunged into a world that is, from your perspective, catastrophically cold. It's an alien environment. Every cell in your body is screaming that something is wrong. The water feels thick, heavy, and hostile. Your fins don't want to move. The water flowing over your gills feels like ice. It's not a refreshing dip. It's a paralyzing, suffocating event. It's no wonder the fish just gives up. It has no other choice. Its world has ended. Let's focus on the gills for a second, because this is where the shutdown starts. The gills of a fish are incredibly delicate, filled with tiny blood vessels called capillaries. This is where oxygen exchange happens. When that super cold water rushes over them for the first time, the shock can cause these vessels to constrict violently. Think about how your fingers feel when you touch something frozen. They get stiff and lose feeling. Now imagine that happening to the one organ you need to breathe. The fish literally can't process oxygen from the water anymore. It's like having your lungs instantly flash frozen. Even if the rest of its body could handle the temperature, if the gills lock up, it's game over. The fish is, for all intents and purposes, suffocating. After the gills lock up, the message of panic spreads to the central nervous system. The rapid temperature change disrupts the electrical signals that the fish's brain uses to control its body. The result is a total system failure. The fish might twitch or spin in a circle for a moment, but it's not a sign of life. It's a sign of the nervous system short-circuiting. The brain can no longer tell the fins to swim. It can't regulate the heart. It can't do anything. The minnow goes limp, turns upside down, and that's it. It's not that it got too cold and slowly froze. It's that it suffered a massive instantaneous shock that was simply not survivable. This is why it happens in 5 seconds, not 5 minutes. Now let's tackle a common myth. I've heard guys say, "Oh, they just get stunned for a minute, then they'll get used to it." This is flat out wrong. Let's be very clear. The fish that goes belly up moments after hitting the water is not stunned. It is dead, or it is dying, and it will not recover. You cannot revive a fish from this level of systemic shock. Leaving it on the hook, hoping it will wake up, is a complete waste of time. Predators like walleye or perch are triggered by the movement and vibration of healthy, active prey. They are not interested in a dead or dying minnow that is lifelessly hanging from your hook. So, the idea that they will get used to it is just wishful thinking that keeps a useless bait on your line. So if the problem is thermal shock, what is the solution? The solution is a simple but critically important process called acclimation. That's the word you need to remember. Acclimation. It just means allowing the bait to get used to the new water temperature slowly and gradually, instead of all at once. It's about bridging the temperature gap over a period of minutes, not seconds. This isn't some complicated scientific procedure that requires special equipment. It's a simple, common-sense approach that any angler can do right on the ice. This one small change in your routine will have a bigger impact on your winter fishing success than almost any other tip you will ever hear. It's the difference between fishing with live bait and fishing with dead bait. The first step in proper acclimation starts before you even get to the lake. You have to break the old habit. Stop putting the bait bucket in the heated cab of your truck. I know it's cold outside, but your bait needs to be cold too. Find a secure spot for it in the bed of your truck. If you have a car, put it in the trunk. The goal is to keep the bait in an environment that is closer to the outside air temperature. This way, the water in the bucket will start to cool down slowly during your drive. Instead of starting with 70-degree water, you'll be starting with water that might be 40 or 45 degrees. You've already cut the temperature gap in half before you even step on the ice. Think about the drive to the lake as part one of the acclimation process. Let's say it's a 30-minute drive. Over that 30 minutes, the water in your bait bucket, sitting in the cold truck bed, is gradually losing heat. The minnows inside are adjusting to this slow change moment by moment. Their metabolism is slowing down. Their bodies are preparing for a cold environment. This is exactly what they are built to do. You are not shocking them. You are easing them into it. Compare this to the guy who has his bait next to the heater vent. His bait is staying warm and active, but it's completely unprepared for what's coming. Your bait is already getting a head start on survival. It's a simple change in location, but it makes a world of difference. Okay, so you've made it to the lake. Your bait is already pre-cooled from the ride. Now comes the most crucial step. When you drill your first hole, your first instinct is to bait up and get a line in the water. You have to fight that instinct. Do not just grab a minnow and drop it in. The water in your bucket is still likely warmer than the lake water. You need to finish the acclimation process. The goal now is to equalize the two temperatures. You need to make the water in your bucket the exact same temperature as the water in the lake. This is the final and most important part of preventing thermal shock. Don't rush this part. Your patience here will pay off all day long. Here is the method. It's incredibly simple. Take your bucket and set it down next to the hole. Now, scoop up some of the lake water. You can use your hands, a small cup, or the bucket lid. and add a little bit of it to your bait bucket. Don't add a lot, just a splash. You've just introduced a small amount of colder water into their environment. Now you wait. Let the water mix. Let the temperature in the bucket drop by a few degrees. The minnows will feel this change, but because it's gradual, they can adjust. They'll slow down a bit, but they will stay healthy. You have started the final stage of bridging that temperature gap. You're almost there, but the next step is just as important: waiting. How long should you wait? A good rule of thumb is to wait about 5 to 10 minutes after that first splash of lake water. Let the fish adjust. After that time has passed, add a little more lake water, maybe a bit more this time. Then wait again. Repeat this process 2 or 3 times. You are slowly and carefully bringing the temperature of the bucket water down to match the lake water. You can even feel the side of the bucket. Does it feel as cold as the snow on the ice? You can dip your finger in the bucket and then in the hole. Do they feel the same? When you can no longer tell the difference in temperature, the process is complete. It might take 15 or 20 minutes total, but you can use that time to set up your other gear. The goal is simple: equalization. You want the home the minnow is leaving, the bucket, to be the exact same temperature as the home it is entering, the lake. When there is no temperature difference, there is no shock. There is no sudden jolt to its system. There is no gill damage, no nervous system failure. The minnow simply swims out of your hand and into the lake as if it were just moving from one room to another. It doesn't even notice the transition. This is the secret. It's not about having some magic bait or a secret spot. It's about understanding the biology of the animal on your hook and giving it a fair chance to do its job. A simple temperature equalization is all it takes. Now it's time for the test. The water in your bucket is now ice cold, matching the lake. Reach in and grab a minnow. Notice it might be a little more sluggish than it was in the warm truck, and that's okay. That's its natural state in cold water. Hook it up and drop it into the hole, and watch what happens. Instead of going belly up, it kicks its tail and swims down, exploring its new environment. It darts around, it struggles, it sends out vibrations. It looks and acts like a natural, healthy bait fish. This is the presentation you've been missing. This is the bait that a predator will notice from 20 feet away. You have successfully avoided thermal shock. You've turned a liability into your greatest asset. And finally, let's talk about the payoff. Why did we go through all this trouble? Because a lively bait catches more fish. It's that simple. A shocked dead minnow just hangs there. It has no action, no appeal. But an acclimated minnow that is swimming actively is a dinner bell for walleye, perch, crappie, and pike. Its struggle sends out vibrations through the water. The lateral line of a predator fish picks this up instantly. Its frantic swimming is a visual trigger that screams, "Easy meal." By taking 20 minutes to acclimate your bait at the start of the day, you ensure that every single minnow you put down that hole is working for you at 100% effectiveness. You'll waste less bait, and you will, without a doubt, get more bites. So, there you have it. The silent killer of your live bait isn't the 33-degree water. It's the 30, 40, or even 50-degree drop in temperature you're subjecting it to in a single second. It's thermal shock. The biggest takeaway here, the real aha moment, is that your good intention, keeping your bait warm and comfortable, was actually the very thing sabotaging your fishing trip. The moment you realize you need to pre-cool your bait, not keep it warm, the entire game changes. This isn't just about saving a few bucks on minnows. It's about presentation. A shocked, dying minnow flutters and dies. An acclimated, lively minnow swims, struggles, and calls in predators from yards away. That's the difference between a blank day and a bucket full of walleye. Thank you so much for watching. If this video just blew your mind or confirmed something you've suspected for years, do me a favor and hit that like button. It really helps the channel out. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss more tips that go against the grain. Now, I want to hear from you. What's the one old-timer fishing tip you've always followed that you're now starting to question? Drop it in the comments below. Let's get a discussion going.